if something like this happens, for instance, how can they be able to, go to the county education officials or even the Ministry of Health and tell them, we are facing this particular challenge at the school level? Do we have those pathways for the schools to be able to interact and work together within the school setup? Because if you work in silos, there's really nothing much you can be able to do to be able to curb these issues of school safety that you're seeing.
Right. So this is certainly like exactly what Dr. Teresa said, multi-sectoral kind of an approach to be able to address this issue. Well, Dr. Teresa, we have environmental factors that we cannot escape that have an impact on, because you're speaking from a public health perspective, the health of learners across the country. Some of them we cannot escape. For example, the issue of unsafe water sources. One of the issues I think that was raised was the fact that the water that was being the water they were getting for the school was from a nearby stream. So you have these students who are actually drinking water from the spring, which is quite unsafe. So then how do we begin addressing some of these challenges? Because you have schools that are still struggling. You have a high transition rate in schools. We'll talk about infrastructure a little bit later in terms of that. That's because that's one of the biggest challenges we have. But because of the fact that we have so many students and you have probably the capacity and the resource of schools that are not able to cater perhaps to all the students, it's easier to just get water from the nearby water source to be able to give to these learners. So then how do we begin addressing that?
I think that's a big one. It's a real challenge because it really depends on the capacity of the school to be able to treat water, because for me that would be the most important thing, because outside the school they have no control about the river and basically what happens. We know there's contamination with sewage. With devolution, I think with more opening up of the counties and more activities, even with the agricultural activities, with drought, of course, thank God the rains are here, we basically would expect more infections like cholera, contamination because of scarcity of water. But for what I think is that, for example, if schools are going to use bowsers, and usually you find that even if you have bowsers, you're never really sure where the bowsers are getting the water, but ultimately it would be prudent to treat the water at the school and make sure that even the water used for washing and drinking, because students really cannot be able to distinguish, water should be clean all the way. I think water treatment would be really important, and also just to be able to separate what is drunk and what is actually used for washing, because again treatment is expensive, so it may be easier to just treat what is available. But again, like you say, in terms of resources, for me I feel the alumni should actually come in, because the water issue is just one bit of it. The environment, like you say, is really important, like making sure that we have enough toilets with more students, and even the way we have solid and human waste disposal. We know that human waste can be used for agriculture to grow vegetables to help the school, but again that would need a lot of intervention by environmentalists to make sure that it works.
It's a whole process.
Yes, it's a whole process.
Right.